Hey guys, welcome back to the Pitera channel. Now last week we brought you part one of our interview with the captain of the Carnival Horizon, which we took right before she had propulsion issues and decided to go into dry dock. Now this interview was taken just before they made that decision not to return and do the repairs in Miami, but to actually bring it overseas to dry dock because of major problems with the ship engine. Now last week we talked about the captain and his growing up and why he wanted to be in our industry. Today we're going to talk about life on board as well as the events that led up to the ship breaking down and what's in store for the ship now. Before we begin, as always, make sure you click that subscribe button, click the little bell notification, that way YouTube will let you know whenever we upload a brand new video. So without further ado, here's the captain. So, was it hard for you during COVID to see some of those ships go over to be
was
disassembled?
heartbreaking because one of the first ships that went to be break was the Fantasy,
My favorite ship?
and it was the first ship that I was a captain on.
Oh,
So in 1999 I was a captain there, and it was heartbreaking to see it go inside in Turkey and be dismantled. It was like a piece of my heart going. But we understand why, and we need to understand that everything has a life, and like humans, that was their time. You know, what can I say?
did they let you know in advance, knowing you have an attachment to that ship, before they let just the general public know?
No. We did find out eventually altogether.
Oh, I can imagine. That was our favorite ship as well. One of the
Understanding.
the former CEO allowed us a few times to use the main suite up there on the top.
Okay.
Because of that, that's always been, for us, a special spot in our heart for the Carnival
Beautiful.
Fantasy as well. But yeah. So let's talk about things here on board during COVID.
Yes.
Were you on board when they first made the announcement that we were going to be shutting down?
Well, I arrived just after, so I boarded the ship just after the first cruise day was closed. And the mood was, if this is what you want to talk about, the mood was a little bit down at the beginning, because nobody really knew the extent of this pandemic. But then, while we progressing through the pandemic, the people realize how strong and how much our company care for their crew and the ship. So they immediately rejoin. What you say in English? They rejoin with the spirit, because they understand it was a light at the end of the tunnel. The company would never leave them stranded, either at sea or wherever. So they really believe it, and they kept the ship in pristine condition, like you see, now that you're on cruise, ready to be on cruise as soon as we would have had the chance to open again. So the people was adapting fast, and knowing that the company was behind them, they did not going down the drain, if you will.
Sure.
Sorry, my expression.
No, I got it. I understand.
Like people could expect in such a situation.
We were so impressed when Carnival announced they were going to repatriate everybody back at home, that all the ships came together and literally sailed everybody back home when there was no airfare to be out there to send people home. How hard was that to get everybody to the right ships and bring everybody home?
Well, that was a gigantic operation, because we was down in the Bahamas, and we started to move people with all the means possible to the mothership to go, and we did that all throughout the 3 days period. So we brought everybody on the other ships safely, and then they set sail from there to South Africa, to Europe, to all over the world. And that would have had been possible from the coordination of the office, the people in the office, and the people on board of the ship. It was a gigantic effort that has been done without damage to the equipment, and most of all, without anybody getting injured or sick or anything else.
And where did your ship go?
No, my ship was this one, and we just sent the people on the Dream, and then the Dream went up in South Africa. Yes.
So you stayed here in the Caribbean.
I stay here in the Caribbean. Yes.
I can think of nicer place, or I can think of worse places to
Very
stay
good
than.
Exactly.
afternoon, Horizon family. It's your cruiser right here in Turkey at 3:30 to guest that 90s song.
So while you're out sea, there's no passengers as far as paid passengers
Right.
on board, no guests on board the ship. What's that feeling like on a giant ship like this?
Well, it's a ghost ship, if you will, because I mean, you see that the ship is a giant ship, as you say, and we had to shut down lots of lights. We almost closed some sections, and when you're walking around, you don't see, and you don't hear, you don't see any colors, and you don't see any music or talking, and it's very eerie feeling. But I don't suggest to anybody to try it because it's a situation where I don't want it to be
Sure.
anymore in my life, you know. But it's very eerie.
Did the crew get to come up to the regular cabins, or did they still stay down in the?
All the crew was accommodated in a passenger balcony in a passenger cabin with balcony. Everybody had their own cabin. We used to eat only the deck all together. So there was we was trying to keep everybody together for don't let anybody feel alone or left out, because we wanted also to make sure that the mental health of each and every one of us, being on a giant ship but just few, was in a good state, and that anybody that would have need any help would be helped.
They must have loved
immediately.
staying in those balcony cabins.
Oh, they love it. They love it, you know, extremely. You know, they were so happy to be there. They were so happy to be there. Yeah.
So let's talk about our sailing in particular. When we
Yes.
first got on board in Miami, we had sailed away for an hour or two, and then there was a medical emergency on board, and we had to turn back a little bit so
Yes.
the Coast Guard could pick that passenger up. Has there been any word from anybody regarding the health of that passenger? Are they okay?
Well, as far as we know, everything is fine. You know, the passenger was brought back to a medical facility, and he did receive the cure that he needed. And so far, it's nice. It's fine. Now there is our care system that taking care also for the communication and for the people if they need anything while they are ashore.
So that must have been tough enough to go on the loudspeaker and tell everybody we were going to be late to our first port because of a medical emergency, which of course nobody can help. I mean, people first over top
Right.
of anything. That's just,
Right.
you know, that's life. But then they have to come back on the next day with propulsion issues and tell everybody that we were going to miss 2 ports in the Dominican Republic. How hard was that for you?
Well, you know, I mean, the first time, as you say, is much more understanding than the second time. The second time was a pure emergency, and I was very, very, I was feeling it for the passenger, because I know that many people invested time and money to do that kind of port, and disrupt the vacation that way is never an easy task. And I was really feeling on the bottom of my heart to communicate that. But I was also, I also know that the people was intelligent enough to understand that was not nothing that we could do, and that the company was doing their best to, you know,
Sure. The mechanical
alleviate.
field, I mean,
Yes.
it's like a car at home. Sometimes
Exactly.
maintenance and, you know, things happen.
Exactly. So
Do we know what's wrong with the ship?
we did have some wrong with one of our pod, and that is in need, like that guy, is in need of technical maintenance that we cannot give while we are here.
Now, we had heard that they canceled the next 2 cruises so they could fix the propulsion issue that you're having. Is the ship going into a dry dock, or are they something they're going to fix just at the pier?
So far, they are still discussing, you know, eventually if we're going to go to dry dock, or are we going to have, you know, a technical company that's going to be on the pier in Miami waiting for us. They're going to evaluate in this period that the cruise has been canceled what really we need to do. And yes, there are talk also about the dry dock, but it's not confirmed yet.
One question about this, and you don't have to answer this.
So,
So there's a thing in my world called the Vista curse, where they claim that the Vista class ships in general, because as you know, the Vista had some propulsion issues for a
Yes.
while. Is that a thing, you think?
Well, I'm a sailor, so I'm very superstitious. So
bananas on board, right?
I'm gonna leave it there. No comment. There are enough ghosts in the world.
And my last
So-
couple of questions for you, and I ask this every captain I interview, and the answer, the only thing you can't answer is by saying, talking to the guests. Any other answer is okay. What's the best part of your job?
My best part of my job. No, it's not. Actually, it's not talking to the guest. You know what? It's knowing the guest, which is different, and it's knowing them on a personal level. Spending time with you and talking to you, for me, is a plus. This is what I like. Going in the gym, for example, and sitting and talking to any person about their life, my life, whatever they do. Small talk is what I like. That is what I like. And honestly, the very best part of my job is have the possibility to be at sea. To be free. Sea is freedom for me. So
We love it too. We cruise only on Carnival because Carnival is very good to us.
thank you.
And we feel more at home on board your ships than we do when we actually go home, which is why we're always on board. People ask me all the time why you cruise so much. So the other way around, what's the worst part of your job?
Talking to the passenger.
When things go wrong.
When things go wrong. No. But besides the job, sometimes it's the routine. Sometimes, as you say, you ending up to really a routine where nothing changed for days and days.
But that's good though in a way, right? Because that means everything's going well.
It's good, but if you like in your job, you are you like to interview people, to be active, to go, and you want to be active all the time.
Sure.
Myself, like the rest of the crew, for a while we like to be in pause, but for the major of the time we like to be busy and do things and travel. So there
Very
is not
cool.
really a bad part of the job.
Well, thank you so much for taking part out of your day to sit down with us and talk to my audience. This is Captain Claudio. This is the Carnival Horizon. And despite our few issues we had on this cruise, we've been on the Horizon many times before, and it is a fantastic ship, as well as all of the ships in the Carnival fleet. So before we wrap it up, again, if you'd like to be a part of our text news message service, send us a text with the word cruise to 305-574-9213. It's totally free. We'll let you know every time we put up a video, as well as when news happens in the cruise industry, you'll be the very first to know. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the little bell notification, that way YouTube will let you know also every time we upload. And if you need us for whatever reason regarding your Carnival cruise, you can call us on our office line at 330-968-4300 for our concierge service, and we'd be happy to help you with your next cruise as well. So Captain Claudio, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.